Good evening, all. Welcome to ISA Leadership Summit 2022. Dr. Venkatgiri, President, ISA National. Dr. Anjali Bhure, Vice President, ISA National. Dr. M.V. Vimeshwar, President-elect. Dr. Virendra Sharma, Treasurer, ISA National. Dr. Muralidhar Joshi, Chairman, ISA Academic Committee and past President, ISA National. Dr. J. Bala Venkat Subramaniam, GC Member, ISA National, and the Coordinator and Program Head of ISA Leadership Summit. Past President, ISA National, Office Bearers of ISA State and City Chapters, and dear ISCNs. Greetings from ISA National Headquarters. Welcome to all of you to ISA Leadership Summit 2022, Day 1. Leadership to me is a relationship which leads to a positive change, first in the individuals, then the organization, and subsequently at the national level and global level. As our past President Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam has very rightly said, a leader is an individual with a concrete vision, a person who inspires others to bring best out in themselves. A leader is one who breathes in the welfare of the association and its member, and who breathes out appreciation and acknowledgement. He puts the team before himself and fosters team building. He is a great communicator and a patient listener. He listens to each and every one. A true leader makes everyone in the team feel heard and brings abroad honest, sincere, and hardworking people by cultivating a culture of trust and appreciation. I'm very sure over the next 2 days, we would be having very interactive sessions and learn a lot of things from esteemed speakers. Thank you very much. I now welcome President Dr. Venkatgiri to formally inaugurate the ISA Leadership 22 and say a few words. Dr. Venkatgiri, please.
Friends and today's faculty, Suma, Namaste. It's a long dream that we should have a leaders summit from ISA and teaching the leadership and how we go ahead for a long time. Though we conceived long back, it took long time to come to this day. And Naveen has told, quoted from APJ Abdul Kalam and all, leaders are not born, we are made. See, I was not a leader at all. By my perseverance, the struggle from IMA or Rotary or this thing, and slowly by step, I could come to this level, not with the support of anybody other than the ordinary members, because leaders should command respect from the individual members, and if does that, he will be made into a leader and taken to the higher. And it should be for what the people need and go with them. And I had the opportunity to hear Madam Uma twice during my secretary when we had a mentorship class. She had taken twice. I attended her full day classes at Mumbai and at Chennai. I think second one was in Chennai, and know that how nicely she take class and how we go ahead with that. And today also we are lucky that she is with us for this large gathering of ISA from ordinary members up to the national president and president-elect, GC members, and everyone, city and state office bearers. So it is to take our, improve our leadership skills and take ISA to further heights, and taking the good things from that and make it useful for benefit of both ISA and ourselves. So we will be made, good leaders will be made better leaders, and better leaders will be the best leaders for the benefit of society and the public together. So with these few words, I officially inaugurate this Leader Summit over 2 days. It is for you to make use of this, and whatever we have invested on this should reflect on the further ongoing in the future time. And I should especially thank Bala Venkat for his great work in getting the speakers today and for tomorrow. And I have already told that one more we should have the top leaders. We should have one more meeting that how we should have that, how to start a talk, how to end a talk, how to keep the people interesting. And all that should be there for the top leadership of ISA. That I hope that we will have soon. That is for all the presidents. Suppose if the presidential address or any address, how you start, how you end, how you keep the people interesting when you talk. I hope that will realize soon. With this, it's over to you, Naveen, for further proceedings.
Thank you, Dr. Venkat Giri, for formal inauguration of the Leadership Summit. And it has been rightly said that leaders definitely lead each and every individual member and win their hearts too. I now request Dr. Anjali Bhure, Vice President ISA National, to address the audience. Dr. Anjali Bhure, please.
Thank you, Dr. Naveen. Good evening, all. Honorable President Dr. Venkat Giri, sir, other distinguished office bearers of ISA National, ISA States, various city branches, ISA members, today's esteemed faculty, Madam Uma Ravi Kumar, and other esteemed faculties for tomorrow also. I appreciate the initiative of ISA National body for organizing a Leadership Summit 2022. According to me, I think leadership is about inspiring people to do things they never thought they could, to discuss various problems, to find solutions to the problems, introduce new strategies, and to discuss the challenges for a better tomorrow. I would like to express my deep gratitude and my sincere thanks to Bala Venkat sir for this venture. Thanks a lot. Long live ISA.
Thank you, Madam, for your address. Now, our President-elect, Dr. M.B. Bhimeshwar, has expressed good wishes and success for the program. Due to technical reasons, he is not able to join. Now, I request Treasurer ISA National, Dr. Virender Sharma, to say a few words.
Good evening, respected President, Dr. Venkat Giri, Vice President, Dr. Anjali Bhure ma'am, my colleague, Dr. Naveen, past President, Dr. Murli, other members of the Governing Council, past presidents of ISA, other office bearers. I recall today when we launched a lot of ISA programs in Bengaluru GBM. It was Naveen's, I think, first year of secretaryship when he was going to the GBM. And most of the programs did start, but somehow we were under process of this ISA leadership skills. And I know, and I must congratulate Dr. Bala Venkat also, because I have been poking him for the last 1 or 2 years, sir. We need to do something on this. So this aspect is a little bit ignored one, in the sense that like we are teaching our members about finances and other things. Yes, I agree with our president that we all are leaders, because we are office bearers. People have supported us, they have elected us. But then there are many things which we ought to learn. And this is a very happy moment that this track has begun. And I'm sure Dr. Bala Venkat and his team would continue these efforts. First, we should train our office bearers, and then that should inculcate into lower office bearers and other members. So all the best for this program, and I welcome the speaker. And thank you, Naveen. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doctor.
It's a very happy moment that this track has begun. I'm sure Dr. Bala Venkat and his team will continue these efforts. First, we should train our office bearers, and
Thank you, Dr. Virender Sharma, for those words. And yes, it has been rightly said, a leader is one who knows the way, who goes the way, and shows the way. And yes, definitely we had launched numerous programs which were successful. And I'm very sure that this program will also be as successful as the other 20-odd programs of ISA National going on. Now I request Chairman ISA Academic Committee and past President, Dr. Mulidhar Joshi, sir, to say a few words.
Respected President Dr. Venkat Giri and dignitaries on the dais and off the dais, it was our dream thought we thought about this particular leadership summit almost a couple of years back, and of course, because of COVID pandemic and all, we couldn't do it. And of course, Dr. Bala Venkat was assigned this particular task, and he's phenomenal in his own work and all those things. I just would like to say on just a couple of words, it's going to be big success. I know about that one. It's the need of the hour. But only thing always I would like to say is, the leader is the ladder for the success. But how do you define success is when success, when your dreams become your nightmares. You achieve the Mount Everest and still you're not happy. That means then they know about something else I wanted to do. That means that kind of introspection what you have to go about that particular thing. But as you keep on climbing on your ladder in professional work or personal life and all, never ever forget, when you keep on climbing the ladder, at some point of time, the ladder, you'll have to get down from the ladder. At that time, don't ever forget that when you're climbing the ladder, never ever step on somebody's hand and feet. Because when you're getting down, those people who are climbing the ladder, it hurts a lot. And of course, we have got an eminent speaker, they'll be speaking much more about this one. The only one thing I would like to say is the last thing is, the happiness is not at the end of the journey, it's all along. Even if you're driving from all the upcoming or national conference at Shillong, even if driving from Guwahati to, I should say, Shillong, the happiness is not at Shillong, it's all along. The moment you realize that one, a bliss comes in your mind, and that is the way to go about it. And I'm sure this event is going to great success with all the brilliant speakers. With these words, I would like to say, long live SA, Jai Hind, Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Muralidhar Joshi, for those words. And you're absolutely right that what you do has far more greater impact than what you say. Absolutely right, sir. Now I request Dr. J. Bala Venkat, the program head for today's ISA Leadership Summit, to say a few words. Dr. Bala Venkat, please.
Thank you very much, Secretary Dr. Naveen, and President of ISA, Dr. Venkatagiri, and all the office bearers, and the leaders, senior leaders, and respected seniors, and all the colleagues in ISA. As rightly said, it's a very important day that a leadership summit was on the anvil for a long time, and I'm very happy that it started today with a very good note. And we visualize that leadership is a way of life. Right from the undergraduate days, a person tries to emulate the leaders and then takes a path which is not treaded by others, and try to create a world order which will be helpful for the fellow beings. And I'm sure today we'll have an excellent session where there is a self-assessment tool given by the corporate trainer Uma, which will give us an opportunity to self-analyze ourselves to see where are we positive and what are the lacunae. And from this, we will learn to grow and make sure that we contribute immensely to ISA and to our nation, and to make sure by our act that we will make it India a power to reckon in the fraternity of anesthesia. And I would also request all of you to join tomorrow at the same time to hear to 4 reputed international leaders who have done extremely well in their profession, who are willing to share their thoughts on leadership. And I look forward for a very enriching session. And I sincerely thank the leadership of ISA, President and Secretary, for giving this opportunity to do this leadership summit. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Bala Venkat. Before I formally invite you to introduce the speaker, we will conclude the inaugural ceremony by saying that what is the difference between boss and a leader? Boss says, go, and a leader say, let's go. So I'm very sure that with the eminent speaker, Madam Uma, will be sure following this thing that leadership summit does not mean to create followers. It means to create more leaders. With this, we formally close the inaugural ceremony of ISA Leadership Summit today. Thank you all. Long live ISA, Jai ISCN, Jai Hind. Thank you. Over to you, Dr. Bala Venkat.
Thank you so much, Dr. Naveen. We straight away get into the session, and I have great pleasure in introducing the trainer of the day, Mrs. Uma Ravikumar. Uma Ravikumar is a has got a master's in business administration in finance and marketing with 23 years of professional experience and expertise. She's a leadership coach, facilitator, and organization development professional working with experiential learning methods based on systems, psychodynamics, and applied behavioral science. As an OD professional and leadership coach, she has facilitated leadership development workshops, executive assessments, and senior organizational leaders from for-profits and not-for-profits in India and abroad have been coached by her. And today she has got an excellent methodology that she has adopted, and she's going to throw it open to all of us. As I rightly said, that it gives a great opportunity for us to introspect, and the self-assessment tool will help us to arrive at some kind of conclusions, and she would give solutions for the various lacunae that may happen. And at the end of the session, it will be very nice if we get feedback and questions from the participants to make it more lively and enriching. With these few words, I thank Mrs. Uma Ravikumar for all the time and effort that she has offered to conduct this session. Now the session is handed over to the coach, trainer, and the leader in her, Mrs. Uma Ravikumar.
Madam, during the course of your talk, everybody will be muted. And if there are any questions or interactions, you can type in your chat box. Once Madam's talk is over, everybody will be unmuted to express themselves and interact with the speaker. Mrs. Uma Ravikumar, please.
Yep. Thank you very much, Dr. Naveen, Dr. Bala Venkat, Dr. Venkatagiri, and thank you everyone for joining in for this session. Just at the outset, this is an interactive session. I would like to make that open for all of us. And as much as possible, we will interact through the chat. Just do let me know if you're able to see the reactions button down in your Zoom. And if you're able to see it, can you give me a thumbs up through the reactions? Can you see a reaction button down on Zoom? Yes, I see some of you. Okay. Okay, a few more have come in. Yes. Okay, I also get it in chat. Thank you very much. The idea for us in this session, leadership is not new to any of us. We are leaders in our own right. Without that, you wouldn't be in your roles, in your capacity, with your expertise in the organizations and hospitals that you're leading, teams that you're part of. So we are all leaders in our own right? And we are also know enough about leadership. And we are able to spot leadership when we come in experience with it, right? So the idea here today is to facilitate a kind of interaction, a discussion, and also a self-reflection of our own leadership styles, number one. Number two, and more importantly, look at what is leader versus what is leadership. How do we see these two terms? And if we want an institution like ISA to thrive, where does potential lie? Does it lie in the leader or does it lie in the leadership? So we're going to look at that a little bit. And we are going to do a self-assessment to look at what are our predominant styles that we may be adopting. And then look at what are the implications, how do we learn to work with this predominant style better with others and move towards the goal we have set for ourselves or for the organizations that we are part of. So these are the three objectives. Thank you, everyone. Many of you have given a thumbs up on chat and have also given it in the reaction. So let me start by sharing my screen, and a lot of it is, like I said, interactive. So if there's a response to the question that is posed on the screen, I request you to type it on chat, right? That way we can make it interactive without making it noisy, and we can all collaboratively build the session as we go ahead. So let me share screen, and are you able to see screen? If some of you can give me a thumbs up, I can know that. Yes. Okay. Thank you. So when I say, who do we remember when we say leader? Some people, we heard some quotes. So who are the people you remember, or one person you remember when we say leader? I'm going to stop share and look at your responses on chat. Modi, Mahatma, Father, Sardar Patel, Rajiv Gandhi, our parents, Gandhiji, Modi, Dhoni, Indira Gandhi, Netaji Bose, Bhagat Singh, Steve Jobs, lot more Gandhiji and Mahatma, the one who can be looked up upon. Myself, thank you. Push, my ex-HOD, person who takes everyone together. Mother, yeah, maybe we'll wait a minute or two more. My father, Naveen Malhotra sir. My mother, one who walks his talk. Myself, thank you, everyone. Okay, looking at it at everyone. Okay, so we have an idea, Sridharan Delhi Metro. Yes, so many that when we start thinking, there are so many, right? So, okay, we just get an idea of who these are. So we see 3-4 kinds of responses, right? One is maybe people who've made a social impact. It could be in the it could be Prime Minister Modi ji, or it could be the father of the nation. It could be, who's brought in social justice. It could be people like Dr. Kurian, who brought in a reformation in the country. Or there are some pioneers like Dr. Rukma Bai Raut, the first practicing woman physician. Or people who have done a lot for the world, right? So maybe Mother Teresa, right? I mean, or business leaders, J.R.D. Tata, Kiran Majumdar Shah. So generally, typically leaders come, those who have made an impact, and those who have chosen a specific field and done something unique in that field that has impacted our lives. And that's the place where some of the other kinds of examples came up. My father, my mother, my HOD, Dr. Naveen. These are people who are immediate to us and who have made an impact. The third kind of examples we saw in the chat is certain qualities or characteristics, right? One who takes everyone along. One who is able to make an impact on others, and then to reflect on oneself and say, myself, I'm a leader by my own right, right? So leader, as you see, is a vast gamut. There's everyone from the stars to somebody who's a star to myself, maybe myself or people around me, right? It's a vast gamut. So how then do we work on leadership? How then do we groom leadership? Where do we start? Do we need to do something as huge as Gandhi did, or do we need to have a certain reach and power like our Prime Minister? Or do we need to become fathers and mothers to become a leader? Or do we need a set of 2-3 characteristics which makes us a leader? These things make us think, isn't it? How do we understand leadership, and where do we develop leadership? How do we work towards it? Yeah. Now, this is leaders in general. In our immediate circle, like some of you have already said, who do we admire as leaders? Somebody who is, in our immediate circle, who do we look at as leaders? And more importantly, what is unique about them or different about them? What is it about them that you tend to see them as leaders? Maybe let's hear some responses on chat too. Hard work, okay, honesty, sincerity. They give a solution to all the problems. Charisma, someone good in oration, public speaking, and able to take others, who are ready to take everyone along, keep all together. Authenticity, lead by example, dedication, sabka saath, sabka vikas, easily approachable, one who identifies my potential, authentic, daring. I'm sure all of you are also reading. I'm not able to keep pace, so I might miss a few. Honest, vision and determination, listens to everyone, proactive, not reactive, allows voice of opinion. In the immediate circle, our parents, older siblings, support at all levels, hardworking, dedicated, gives solution to all problems, supportive, forethought, understanding, has a ear for all, have a vision, empathizing. Okay, that's quite a list. Wow, that's quite a list. And there's more coming. Yes, Kay. Understand and guide with vision. If we look at, the kind of responses, you would see that some of them are leaders because we see certain qualities in them. For instance, we are saying forethought, being a visionary, thinking, innovative ideas, they're inspiring, they're motivating, So we look at some qualities. They're supportive, they're encouraging, they are proactive, right? So there are qualities of being honest. And then there are some actions. They're listening to everyone. They're talking to everyone. There is, they easily communicate. They're good at public speaking. So there are some skills also. They are sincere and they are empathetic. Again, some qualities. Ability to get people to listen. So there are some competencies, skills, behaviors. Keeping all together. So you can see broadly, there are 2 types of aspects we look for when we attribute leadership to those around us, immediately around us. One seems to be a set of qualities, and the second seems to be a set of behaviors. By qualities, we mean, the honesty, hard work, sincerity, forethought. These are qualities, and behaviors are keeping all together, being good at oration. The behaviors can be competencies, skills, their attitude, the way they approach others, how they give solutions. So these seem to be 2 different aspects or 2 aspects that come to us when we want to see somebody as a leader, right? Now, typically in organizations, let us see who we see as leaders, right? We can attribute a few qualities and behaviors to people, but who do we really see as leaders? I'm also reading. Okay, somebody's saying that the video is not audible. I hope you're able to join, ma'am. But I think it's generally okay. I see that others aren't tracing that. They should be humble, perseverance, giving importance to each and everybody, taking everyone together. Okay, thank you, ma'am. So, so we have said a lot of things about what we are seeing leadership as. You know, while we understand this cognitively and maybe experientially also, often seeing leader is attributed, it has some assumptions underneath. You know, if we look at our responses to both these questions, some of the assumptions that seem to come up are, you know, usually associated with those holding formal authority or designation. You know, we see a leader as a person who either heads an organization, who has a formal role, who heads a department, or who's got a designation that signifies that they have formal power and authority in decision making. You know, and because of this very deep-rooted belief that is more widely held, it is leader as a term is associated to a few people in organization. Though some of us did call ourselves leaders, it's not very often that we widely attribute the term leader to more people. They're only a chosen few who are given the title of a leader. It becomes like a designation, you know, and we look for personal qualities like forthright, ethical, compassionate, etc. This is something we can see. Sometimes it is superimposed on expertise or experience. If somebody has practiced for many years, a certain profession, could be medicine, could be law, could be engineering, then because of their long experience, they are seen as better leaders. Because of their expertise, maybe their educational qualifications and their technical expertise, they are seen as better leaders. You know, these are not, there's nothing wrong with them, but these ideas could limit or confine leadership to a few people. And the topic of today is to be able to see who is the leader in me. Even if I'm not holding a formal authority or a designation in a system or in an institution, you know, I could be seen as a junior person. I could be seen as down in the hierarchy, in a career level or in an organization structure. But is there a leader in me? And what is that leader, right? How do we recognize that leader? How do we nurture that leader? And how do we groom that leader? You know, unless we are able to see that, it may be a challenge for organizations to thrive, because there will only be a few people who are attributed with the title of leader, and it may not be enough for us to grow towards the vision. Similarly, our own growth gets limited if we don't see the leadership within us, which is beyond our expertise as medical professionals, right? So that's the place we will go into next. How do we move from a place of seeing leadership for clinicians or for doctors or for those in the medical profession? And maybe, you know, I'll in a minute, I'll open up for some sharing. You can put up your hands and then do some sharing. But I tried to look for a lot of research, and while there isn't much research that is based out of India, I could find some research that is based out of the UK and the US about how efforts in leadership development and grooming leaders right through the medical education and the practice of medicine gives enormous results to organizations and hospitals. So there seems to be enough research and backing to say leadership is an important training for doctors. just the medical expertise alone may not be sufficient to grow as people grow in the profession. The other day, one of the doctors told me, it took me a long time to learn to say no. He said, I couldn't just say no to people. And that increased my workload, that increased my stress so much. Another, intern that I was talking to in regard to the leadership work itself, a medical intern, said, I do not know how to raise my questions with my seniors. Sometimes I'm so scared that I can't find my voice. What are they talking about? These are examples of demonstrating leadership or challenges in demonstrating leadership, even as a medical professional. This just a little while ago, we heard our office bearers talk about how we may need to learn how to make public presentations. This is about grooming our leadership competence. So leadership is a journey we continue to learn, and hence it is present for all of us in our roles. So let me just quickly go into sharing where is the place of leadership for doctors and clinicians. And I found this model, which I thought might be helpful to see how we look at leadership for clinicians. At the core of it is, of course, the ethics of being a medical professional. Second is the expertise, which is unique and which is what makes you the professionals you are. And the third aspect, the outer layer that seems to be important is leadership, right? So while having the ethics and the expertise makes one a good medical professional, to grow oneself, either for one's own self or for the institution that one belongs to, leadership seems an essential thing to look at, right? Now, having given this background, I wanted to share what it would be to look at leadership from the lens of self-awareness. And I wanted to share a video for that. Just give me a moment while I put it on. Let me, maybe before I get there, I'll maybe hear a bit from all of you. I think that would be better. What is your view? Leader and leadership, how can we encourage leadership across different levels, across different hierarchies in the organization? Maybe a few, 4 or 5 voices, and then we can go on to the next bit. So can they unmute themselves, Dr. Naveen?
Yeah, okay, I can allow them to unmute themselves.
Okay, maybe you can put up your hands and speak about how you see the difference between leader and leader. I'm not being.
If somebody wants to express, they can raise hand, and you can unmute yourself also.
Okay. Would you be able to manage that, Dr. Naveen? Because I'm not able to see everybody.
Right now, I don't see any hands up right now. So maybe in due course.
Okay, yeah. What's your view about leader and leadership? And, how can we encourage more people to demonstrate leadership? Any thoughts on those? Okay, Dr. Chetna says on chat, we can give responsibilities to members so they can lead a cause. Okay, so there is a larger purpose. Any other thoughts? How do you see the difference? Okay, Dr. Bala Venkat has raised his hand.
I think one of the most important thing is every senior has to make sure that that senior has gone through the same path as the younger one is going through now. So all the deficiencies, challenges that he faced 10 years before, and which the junior is facing now, you please tell them, explain to them that, and show them the path that they need to take, so that the 10 years of learning can be converted into few minutes of learning for the youngster. Allowing them to take the right path, to take the right decisions at the right moments with anecdotes would be a great way to make people understand and realize what they can do.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Doctor. I think that's so important how leadership is encouraged, with the freshers or newcomers. There are some responses on chat. Addition of competencies from student days. Okay, Dr. Naveen, you'd like to go?
I'll see. Each and every individual has some qualities.
Right.
Everybody cannot be best in everything, but whatever the good qualities they have, we should foster them and acknowledge them and give them a platform to showcase their talent and nurture that, so that they become leader in their own self in that particular field. And we should definitely lead by example to our fellows, maybe our seniors, maybe our juniors.
Thank you. Anjum, yeah.
You can unmute yourself, please.
Hi, thank you for giving me the opportunity. I was just thinking that all of us need to have the chance to explore leadership. We need to inculcate these habits from our undergraduate years. It's not only your position that gives you the power to be a leader, like our speaker is talking about. We need to give each individual, even your nurses, even your technicians, maybe the whole team, leadership is everybody's business. So everybody has the opportunity to develop themselves and help the team deliver more. So like Dr. Naveen said, everybody has different expertise, different skills. One might be a good manager, one might have good vision, but the leader is one who takes your team to a different level or a different space. Maybe somebody who takes your whole team to a different, has a shared vision for the whole team. Like our teams, when we were doing our undergraduates, your leader led you to better performance. So that could be for a team, say anesthesia or palliative care, for your whole service to go to a higher level of excellence. So the leader takes you to his vision and enables you to get there. I'm speaking too much.
Thank you.
No, that was helpful to say what is the way and how it can be done. Thank you, Dr. Anjum. Yeah. There are also responses on the chat. I'm hoping some of us will demonstrate leadership by speaking about it. I'd like to see a few more hands go up.
Okay, I think I will have to invite Dr. Madhav Sathe. Please unmute yourself.
This is an opportunity for leadership too.
I think first and foremost, we should promote children to ask the questions. Right from a childhood in the house, if you ask the question, you get a whack. So that should not happen. So there should be a logical answers to be given. Of course, sometimes the situations can be bad, but it should not be an every time. And in the bargain, what is happening is that India is becoming a avyakta samaj, completely avyakta samaj. We never express ourselves. And if you don't express, you can't be a leader. Or the leadership cannot come up if you can't express. So I think expression is one of the most lacking thing that I have found into our country. And expressing about the woes is a very common thing. People will talk hours together about the difficulties that they face, but rarely you will find a person talks about the positive things that he thinks and what he can do to improve his own problems or the problems faced by the community. Like the teachers will always go on talking about how the government is asking them to do this work, that work, which is not even 10% of their total work. But they will talk 100% times on that. But they will not talk about the education, what they are doing to the children, how they are going to improve their education. That's the flaw. That is how the leadership should be everybody. Leader is not somebody who is leading the crowd. Leader is a person who leads by his own example. That's
Very
what
right.
I feel.
Very right, sir. Very right, sir. So we've got some more hands coming up. Dr. Hital, please unmute yourself.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So leadership is all about creating more leaders. It is not about creating more followers. Sometimes what we see is leaders try to create more followers for them, but they should try to create more leaders so that we can have more leaders, and we should provide environment juniors for juniors to grow in the as a leader, and they become a better leader than ourselves. Thank you.
Right, thank you. So Dr. Suchitra, and then I'll come to Dr. Hitendra Mahajan and then Dr. Balavenkat.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. Actually, what everyone has said is correct. The leader is the amalgamation of all the qualities which were narrated before. A leader should be the best, but he or she can't be the best, only the best, because he has to take everyone along with him or her towards the path of progress. So a leader should be such person that he should be very sort of impressive, no doubt about it. But that person job is like a johari. He should be able to judge the qualities of his colleagues or whoever is with him or her, and he should try to take the group along with him towards progress.
Right. Thank you, ma'am. Dr. Hitendra Mahajan, please.
Yeah, am I audible?
Audible, sir, audible. Go ahead.
Yes. So, as correctly pointed by everyone, I would just like to add that we all are having leaders around us. As a leader, we need to just identify, as Naveen sir has correctly said, that we need to identify specialities into that person and accordingly delegate the work to that person. And once you delegate the work, you can just supervise. They are bound to create a mistake. So as a leader, we should be able to help them to rectify those mistakes rather than discouraging them. And after fulfilling the task, what is more important is to recognize that achievement and award it in one or the other way. And that will help to boost leaders around us. Thank you very much. Thanks for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Hitendra. Dr. Balavenkat, please.
Madam Uma, I just want to ask this question. That, as it was discussed initially, no hands went up.
Yes.
So there seems to be a kind of a thought inside most of the Indians that until provoked, they don't really come up. Or in other words, when we are going global, if the opportunity is there between the developed nation and the developing countries, we always see that we step back and we don't really compete with them. So I just think whether it is because that we have been ruled for many centuries, that the kind of the attitude that we have towards expressing ourselves, like the same thing what Madhav Sathe sir said about expressing ourselves. Are we not confident enough to expressing ourselves, especially when we in global forum and also even in national forum? When we say put up your hand, hardly hands go up. So is this a lacune which we need to transform and create leaders?
Thank you for noticing that and bringing up a here and now kind of a data. It's true. I think what our leadership work also shows us, Dr. BV, is that, being entrepreneurial in mindset in any situation, which is to take a risk when things are not clear. That's what I mean by entrepreneurial, which is also seen as risk-taking mindset. Is something that we generally and quite prevalently lack as Indians. I don't think it's a matter of confidence We are more community oriented than individualistic. So when others speak, we are more ready to speak. Than put up myself in front and take the risk of going ahead. Sometimes the fear is of being seen as promoting oneself, which our culture also does not call as a very desirable trait. So our humility and a bit of a challenge in taking risks which are necessary for the task actually brings about this, and very possible our colonialism and possibly some feudalism also have contributed to this kind of mindset. So I don't think it's any longer confidence. Yeah, I mean, that's what our work, at least in leadership development across, seems to be telling us.
Right.
And yeah, can we, Dr.
Yeah,
Naveen?
there are more coming. As Dr. Bala Venkat was saying, that once somebody starts speaking, the others also wants to express.
Yes,
And
Dr. Naveen, I have a request. Could we have next 3 people, and then we'll again create slots,
yeah,
where people
there
can
are 6
come.
hands now, so I'll give opportunity to, I think, quickly to all of them because they've been waiting since long.
Okay.
So, Dr. Manisha Katekar, followed by Dr. Rufa Mushtaq, Naresh, Dr. Swami Bande PD, and Vivo Y73. 1 minute, please, quick.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. First, I would like to say on this is that the leader should not feel himself as a leader. He should always think that he should be a part of that team. He should be versatile, easily communicable, and he should have good communication skills. That is very important. He has to believe in his team. He should be encouraging. He has to take along everyone for the assigned task together. He should just not rely on them, or just not give responsibility to them, but also work with them, so that they will also feel that the leader is part of them. So that's what I feel about the leadership.
Thank you, madam. Dr. Rufa Mushtaq.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I have only a couple of thoughts because a lot of the ideas have already been discussed now. Now, one is that we as Indians do have this baggage of colonialism. However, I don't think it is the confidence that attributes, the lack of confidence, which makes us not very good leaders. I think it is sometimes our humility, kindness, the basic values are taken as weaknesses. That is one point. And second is, as being grown in this culture of hard work and good values, sometimes it does feel as if we are very task focused. And if you see the comments that have been coming round, there has been a lot of that. We need to be very good with our work. And as medics, or doctors, we are very, very focused in having the best skills before we say we are a leader. I think there's a confusion here. We are not talking being the best in our medical profession. What we are talking about is having a vision, having that organizational or educational leadership that we are talking about here. So I think that there is a little bit of overlap or confusion about leadership here.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you for that clarification. I think it's not about being the best doctor. You're right.
Dr. Naresh, Dr. Bande BD.
Hello, good evening. Good evening, everyone. I think leaders are inborn because every individual has a vision and he has a goal in his mind. But about the leadership is how to convince the people or his team to achieve those goals. That is a leadership. That is according to my vision.
Thank you, Dr. Naresh. Dr. Bande BD, Dr. Dr. Swami, and Vivo Y73, please unmute.
Yeah, Bala Venkat, Naveen, and others, good evening. This is Dr. Bande.
Yeah, good evening.
So, listening to multiple comments and kind of explanations, I feel we all have some or other leadership qualities. We need to nurture amongst ourselves simultaneously when we are learning. And we have to practice what we are going to preach or lecture others. Because when somebody sees you as a leader and what you are doing, it's an ongoing process. It cannot be an event that you've done something and that is being followed. Leadership process is continuous process. And I further believe that any leader should mix with all the colleagues and subordinates, so that they are at ease to understand what you are, what your qualities are. And then you also understand what the qualities of the leaders in making will be. Probably that will get more opportunity for a leader to find out who are the future leaders. And basically, the sustenance of leadership is important because it is an ongoing process. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Balavenkat. And the second last is Dr. Chidananda Swami, and then I'll go to Sir Vaivo Y73. I don't know your name, please.
Thank you, Dr. Naveen. Thank you all. Good evening. Good evening, madam. See, this thing was, one is, I think what we lack is the inertia, what Dr. Balavenkat was telling. We needed some people to take the lead, and then you saw many people jumping in. We have that inertia. We need some push. So as a leader, what we need to do is, especially as you grow up in your status, both academically and professionally, we need to role play what we like to see in the juniors. We would like to role play ourselves. Second is, we would like to handhold them, teach them what they should be doing, or what they should be, how they should be doing things the right way. That's where I think we lack. One is the inertia, role play, and hand-holding needs are the three essential qualities which we should look at in any upcoming leader. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sir, over to you, please.
Good evening, everybody. I think fear, restrictions, and inhibitions, they are the three main factors which prevent people to come out, to express themselves, or to react or act at the right moment. So every time those who are having leadership qualities should not be assigned work to do to develop good leaders in more number. It should be allotted to the persons who are fearful, timid, who are not expressive. So more leaders can be developed. This is what I think my way.
Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you for so many of you who shared your views. I'm also hoping many of us listen to them, because that is the other aspect that happens, that when we begin to speak, we sometimes are not very available to listen to the others. So both are aspects of leadership, just a reminder. And many, many important aspects, qualities, ways to develop leaders came up. I was just left with this, that I felt like we are talking about the Ramayana of leadership, all good things. But there is a Mahabharata to leadership, and I see a couple of comments which I would really like to point out, like Dr. Amir Syed says, learn to agree and disagree, learn to agree to disagree. Okay, there is disagreement sometimes in leadership. There is also one, Dr. Anjum has said, challenge the process, right? So these are also aspects. Leadership, I wish, was a bed of roses, but it's also a pathway of thorns. All institutions are political. It's not just that politics is political. Families are political. Our institutions are political. We have to learn how to work with different kinds of people. Sometimes we upset people. Sometimes people leave us. Sometimes we are unpopular. Sometimes we are not. There are people who have been with us, who let go of their support of us. And then how do we behave? Right? How do we deal with dissent? How do we deal with disagreement? How do we disagree? These are all also important aspects of leadership. while we are all building towards a common vision, the nuances and the not so nice aspect of leadership are not very often spoken. And as a result, while many of us admire leadership in others, we fear taking it up on ourselves. Because we say, what do we do? I cannot oppose. Being a diplomat is not my cup of tea. I'm a more straightforward person. So, you know, there is a fixed view of how a leader should be that we seem to unconsciously sometimes carry, and hence withhold ourselves from demonstrating leadership as it comes to us. So some things that I just wanted to share, you know, when organizations work on leadership, by organizations, I mean institutions like ISA or hospitals or educational institutions or corporate or non-profits where I work. When I work with leadership development, this is something that I wanted to share with you, how it comes across. And let me just put up the screen. While we say everybody can be a leader, leadership still seems to be a choice. There are several ways for people to be successful. Like you can be a very good doctor and be successful, but without demonstrating much leadership. That's always a choice. So it's really up to us. If we are chasing success, leadership is one way and not the only way, right? But if we are chasing fulfillment, meaning, growing institutions, a sense of satisfaction at the end of the day, leaving a legacy behind, becoming a role model, creating a vision, being inspirational, then there is no other go but to adopt leadership. So leadership, while it may be about taking people along, the question we need to ask is taking people along for what? Right? There needs to be a primary objective, a goal, a vision, and you know, towards which we are able to take people along. Right? Often a certain kind of camaraderie and being nice to people is equated to leadership. Whereas very often you may have to break people's heart by being direct and straightforward, because you're all moving towards something, and either for their own good or because we are working towards a challenging objective, you cannot always be nice to people, right? So leadership involves working towards a primary task, a primary objective. And in that, we take people along, we groom them, we are patient with them, we invest in them, we really care about them. But that does not mean we become very nice, you know, or only nice all the time. So hence, leadership may come at the cost of popularity or being right in everybody's eyes. That may not be a luxury that leaders can afford. You know, so often when we have these kind of slightly sweeping terms, take everyone along, think of the good for all, they're ideal, but they don't make leadership something that we can practice. How do we deal with mistakes, for instance? How do we look at ourselves when we make mistakes? Where is the place for learning? Where's the place for feedback? Where's the place for kindness and compassion? How do we discern what to employ at what time? Leadership is quite complex and nuanced, right? And it may not be all gold and silver, right? But still, in an institution, the only way for sustainable growth of any institution is when more and more people choose leadership. Some of the Ramayana things we've spoken and some of the Mahabharata things we are not speaking about. But if it is towards the common objective, common goal, a vision that we have set towards for all of us, then it needs to be spoken about. It needs to be brought up. It needs to be worked with. For instance, when Dr. BV brought up here, why are we not speaking up? You know, it's not a pleasant thing to ask. It doesn't have to be done in this forum, but it's still something that makes us think, right? So leadership may mean difficult questions. unpleasant answers, disagreements, and still being able to work together towards a common goal. Where the goal becomes more important than individuals, I think there is scope for leadership in that institution more and more. Right? There was a Stephen Simek's quote that I really liked. The cost of leadership can be yourself, the prominence for self that we give. That can be the cost of leadership. So how much of my own pride and my own glory can I subsidize towards achieving the organizational vision is a tough decision for a leader to make. And when more of us are able to take that path, leadership really thrives in an institution. Okay, feedback culture both ways. I hear some more input. So I haven't yet seen them. We'll come back to those, right? Now, a good place to start about leadership and our work on leadership is with self-awareness. We may all have thoughts and views. We may be able to identify leadership when we see it, right? We may be able to locate it when we see it in a group. So we do have the resources to know what leadership is. But the real work of leadership involves a difficult task, which is putting a mirror to our own behaviors, holding a mirror to ourselves. There is a consequence to each of us being a leader. Some things do work well, some things don't work well. If we take everyone along, we might be seen as a people pleaser, right? If we leave some people, if we take some people along and we don't take the others, we might be seen as partial, right? If we are very quick to take decisions, we might be seen as a hard taskmaster. If we are slow, we may be seen as scared. So our image amidst people is constantly challenged when we choose the path of leadership. And hence many people don't choose it. Right? We try to go with the masses, and that way we neither stand distinct nor are we noticed for what is good or bad about us. So just a small little clip, a video that I'd like to share. It's on YouTube and I'm sharing a YouTube video. So give me a moment to put it on. And I'd like to, Dr. Naveen, if you can hear the volume, please give me a thumbs up. I'm going to share it. Yeah. Are you able to hear the volume? Dr.
No, not yet.
No? Okay, just give me a moment. I'll share it again.
Share with sound, madam.
Yeah, I have done that. I'll just do it again. Sometimes.
The farmer one day found an eaglet's egg, and he picked it up and took it over to the hen house and put it under one of his hens. And when all the eggs were hatched, the little eagle was hatched with all the other little chickens. And of course, immediately the mother hen begins to rear her chicks, as she often does, and the little eagle was treated exactly the same. And as he continued to grow, he assumed he was just a part of the family. He was another chicken among chickens. And so he began to learn the things that all little chickens learned, to go around the barnyard and peck for worms. And then when it came to flying, learned to fly maybe a few feet, first very awkward, and then he got pretty good at flying only a few feet at a time. And this is the way he continued to live, just following the role of all the other chickens. And then one day, when he was much older, he looked up in the sky and he saw a beautiful, majestic bird riding on the winds. And he turned to one of his friends and he said, "Who is that?" or "What is that?" And his friend said, "Oh," he said, that's an eagle. They're birds of the sky. He said, "We're chickens and we're birds of the ground." After the old eagle heard his friend tell him that that was a bird of the sky and he was a bird of the ground, there was a part of him that had been caught in that moment of seeing that bird in the sky that ignited a longing in himself to fly a few feet, to eat worms. The worms had never satisfied his hunger, and the flying never seemed to be enough. And he suddenly realized that he was facing a decision in his life. And that decision really was, do I continue to go on with life as I've always lived it, or do I do whatever it takes to fly like that bird? And so he began to ponder that, and he made a decision. He would rather try to fly like that bird than to simply accept the way he had been living. And so that's the decision he made, to fly. And his life was changed forever.
You could hear that, Dr. Naveen?
All good, ma'am, all good.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I go back to this video when I forget that I can fly too, especially when I'm scared, like one of the doctors spoke, I didn't get his name. He spoke about being fearful and timid. And in so many situations, we are fearful and timid. I could be confident in speaking to you all because that's my job. But in another situation where I have to go and deal with a government official, get something done and deal with bureaucracy, I'm very timid, right? And there is an area for me to work with systems, to know my limits and push my limits too. So we all have areas to deal with our fears and timidness. And it's a very little video, but I find it very inspiring to go and say, I can fly and I can take a step which I am not sure about or I'm not done before. So it's a lot about becoming aware of who we are, how are we working, how do we come across to others, what is it that we need to improve or change, what of our strengths do we need to leverage, and how do I understand others and how do we work with who they are, right? So towards this, there are many instruments that we can use. I've chosen a simple one, an instrument that is called a personality style inventory. I'm going to send this on chat, and I hope many of you can open it. And get it on your, just give me a moment as I'm trying to send it on chat. This is not going through. I think I need a moment, Dr. Naveen. This is not going through.
Please do.
I'm going to send it from another place. So just give me a moment. This should work, I think. Is there an email ID I could send it to or something?
You can send it to me. I can post it for you.
Okay, we'll do that. Can you give me your email ID? I'm just sending it right away. Can you please share your email ID?
ISANHQ@gmail.com.
Okay, ISA.
NHQ, National
Okay, I have that here.
@gmail.com.
I've sent it to you. You'd receive it from Umar Ravi Kumar.
I'll mute everybody so that they can will allow them subsequently to unmute themselves. So you have to also unmute, Madam Dr. Umar.
Yeah, can you have a look if you've received that?
ISANHQ@gmail.com.
Yes, yes. Not yet?
Yeah, this is
okay.
MS Word has come and MS Word file is there and it's opening up. And as you rightly said that we need some initiative and push to our members. And so you want me to paste this table in the...
You can send it as an attachment on chat. It's just that I'm not able to for some reason. On the chat, you'll find a little document icon.
Okay, fine, I'll do that. I'm also finding it slightly difficult to share.
Okay, what I can do is maybe I will share screen and people can note down their option either on this on their laptop or something if you're having a difficulty.
I have the file, no doubt about that, but
okay, there's some issue. I don't know why. I've never faced this issue. I'm okay. So folks, here's my request. You will see on my screen, I will put up a few sets of 4 adjectives. Okay. If you have a pen and paper or if you have a notepad with you, this might be difficult, yeah. Dr. Naveen. I'll just share the screen. That is simpler. I'll open it and share the screen. Okay. Ignore the chat message for now. We'll just do it another way. With limitations of technology, we're sorry about this. I'm sharing screen now, and you will see. Are you able to see the screen?
All good.
Okay, so here's my request. right, as you see the screen, typically you would have got this and you would have marked it as such. But right now, if you have a paper or if you have a notepad open on your laptop, please choose among the sets of 4, what you think describes you better. So for instance, if I say from the first list, competitive, joyful, considerate, harmonious. When I looked at these 4, yes, many of them resonated with me, but competitive resonated with me more. I'm quite a competitive person. So that's my choice of how I see myself given these 4 choices, right? So when you note down, please note down the number also. So you can write either 1 competitive or 2 joyful, like that you can note down. Similarly for the next set of 4, and the third set of 4, and the fourth set of 4, like that. Yeah. So I'll go slowly. If anybody has a question, please put it up on chat and I will, if it's not clear.
So everybody has to go horizontal.
It doesn't matter. They can go, that's simpler. This way it's simpler if they go horizontal. The first 4, the next 4, etc. I'm guessing people are in the 4th box. I have a chat message. No, you can't make 2 choices. You have to choose 1. Whatever comes to you spontaneously. Please note down with the number. If you're choosing 3 EC on others, then please write down 3 also. Actually, this is a better way because if those, it's also live streamed on YouTube, so people can see this. If we had sent an attachment, they wouldn't have received it. So there is a silver lining to the cloud.
Yeah, you can scroll down now.
Yes, I'll do that. Okay, I have a query. Dr. Gurudat, you have to make a choice for every 4, and you'll have to write it in another piece of paper or on a notepad. Can I scroll down? Okay, somebody has a question. Scroll down. Okay. That's the last bit. I didn't know the meaning of nonchalant till I worked with this. It's about being calm, not perturbed. Okay, you may have to do this for yourself, doctor, which may really help you get a self-assessment for yourself. So we have your responses and we can work with it, but the request is to put it down for yourself.
They have disappeared.
Sorry?
Questions have disappeared.
Oh, have they?
And now that's fine.
Okay, sorry. Okay, maybe they did. Okay. If I open chat, I think I lose the questionnaire. So I wouldn't look at chat for the next couple of minutes. Are most of you done? Do you want me to scroll through the whole thing briefly again? I can do that. Okay, we are having people say done, which is nice. Okay, let me just go up if anyone wants to notice. Okay. Shall I stop share? Okay, I'm going to stop share. I guess most of you have done it for yourself. Now, what we will do is, okay, right. So this is what I'd like you to do as the next step, which is to do the scoring, right? If you have also written the adjective, you can just look through to see if that's describing you in some ways. Yeah, and then I will share the scoring sheet. Just something very simple. How many ones and how many twos and how many threes and how many fours do you have? That's what you need to notice. So something like this. How many ones do you have? How many twos do you have? How many threes do you have? And how many fours do you have? And all of us might have different kinds and combinations of scores. Some of us may have them more equally distributed. Some of them may have one more than the other. Some of us may not have one of the scores at all. It's okay. Just note it down that which is your predominant score and maybe the next first and second. Okay. And you can see that if you are more ones, then your predominant style is a driver style. More twos is expressive. More threes is amiable. More fours is analytical. you can just make a note and we can see what it means. Yeah. Count the number of ones, number of twos, number of threes, and number of fours. Right? Okay. Once most of you have done that, maybe you can put up some thumbs up or say you're done. Okay, people are sharing. Thank you very much. More force. Dr. Ashwin says amiable. Dr. Kamlakar says more of 3, amiable, I think. You should get a total of 24, not more. So counting all your ones and twos and threes and fours together, you should have just 24, right? Yeah. Okay, so we're getting different scores. Are we excited to know what this means? And what does it tell us about each of the scores? Shall we get to seeing that? You're welcome to share your scores. If you're not, also it's fine. This is more for you as a reflection. And then we can see what it brings up for us. Right. So we're having some chat messages also. Okay, I'm not seeing chat right now. You're most welcome to post your scores, but I'm just going through what this means. Okay, what does it mean just overall? The personal styles at work are seen in two kinds of parameters. One is, if you can see the, what do I call it? The vertical line, it is about how much we tell and how much we ask. If you see the horizontal, it is about how much we are oriented to people and how much we are oriented to tasks. Now, if we are more oriented to tasks and we have a telling style, then that becomes a driver, where you would have had more ones, right? Typically, a driver is the kind who'll say, just do it, and wants to know what and when. What are we doing? By when does it need to be done? And likes to change things, right? So that's a driver. If it's a person who is more oriented to tasks, but is more of the ask kinds, who looks for how do we do it here, and follows those rules, they are more the analytical kinds. Do it right or not at all. Wants to know how, likes to plan. Okay, that's the analytical. You would have had more force, right? If you look at the person who likes to tell, but is more people-oriented, then they could be more expressive. That will be, let's all do it. It's, let's do it together. Wants to know who else is signing up for it. Asks for people to say whether they're signing up or not. Likes energy and optimism, right? And if they're people-oriented and are more the ask kinds, and then their approach to work could be, we are great, and wants to know why and who, and likes cooperation and loyalty. That's the amiable kind, right? I hope you can see and spot yourself in it, or you can look at some others you know at workplace who may have a more predominant style. And most of us have all these styles, which we adopt at different times, but there is usually one or two predominant style. Even if the difference is like a 8 and a 7, it's still worthwhile watching what we do and how we come across. These are how we are perceived, our opinion of how we are perceived, right? I'm just looking at chat, so give me a minute. This seems quite accurate. Okay, so we're hearing some responses. of how we are working, right? So now, if this seems okay, let's move a little further into each of these styles. And while we are looking at these styles, I would request two things. First thing, look at your style and see what of it applies to you. Second thing, just think about what is the style of one or two of your co-workers. It could be your boss, or it could be a subordinate or a peer. And just try and map it. So for instance, if you are the person who says you're more of a driver, based on the qualities we are going to see if the other person is more of the expressive kind or is more of the amiable kind. You can just try and mentally spot it, right? Predominant ones. Okay. Thank you for sharing. I think it's very helpful to know. And let's look at how the driver style works. So we had some ones. So that is the driver style. How could you be perceived, especially under challenging situations, right? On the right-hand side, you might see a negative. So that's under challenging situations, under stress, when there isn't enough time, or there aren't enough drivers in the teams that you're working. If there are other drivers, the load on a driver becomes less. That's true for all other personality types too. So on the right, you see under challenging circumstances, how one could be perceived. This is not who you are, it is how you're perceived, right? So we need to distinguish between the two. A driver could be seen as pushy, could be seen as severe, tough, dominating, harsh, under challenging circumstances. But when there is some difficult goal to achieve, or when there is something, a leap that has to be taken, there is something too challenging to happen, then a driver is sought after, right? They're strong-willed, they're seen as independent, practical, decisive, efficient. This is something how drivers could be seen, right? Where does growth lie for a driver? Maybe if drivers want to work a little bit on their style, it could be that they can work on listening, right? They could spend more attention in listening to others to compensate for the driving style and their own stress reaction. When drivers can also be pushed to a corner and can feel extremely stressed. And at such times, drivers tend to take a control of the situation, and it can be seen as having autocratic power, that they decide and they don't consult, right? So this is how a driver style might come across. And they are task specialists, the drivers. Their reaction time is swift. Usually they are quick to put up their hands. There can be a lot of effort to control things from going wrong or trying to keep them on track. Sometimes they put caution in relationships to, they don't care so much. They say, if it needs to be done, it needs to be done. How does it matter how it affects the other person, right? Their action is more direct. If there is inaction, they may tend to reject it. They cannot tolerate it very much. The need that predominantly comes across is one for control, results, achievement. All right. Drivers are very much catalysts for growth, and they do take organizations and individuals through difficult times through their focus on the objective. Oh, you can't see the full screen? Are you able to see full screen now?
You don't have to open the chat box. That's causing the problem.
Oh, I shouldn't be. Sorry, I tend to keep opening the chat box. I will ignore that for the time being and move on to the expressive style. These are people who might have had many twos. How could they be seen as? They're ambitious because their style is also about social recognition, about taking people along. Okay, they're stimulating, they're enthusiastic, they're friendly. They could be seen. I shouldn't be saying they are. They could be seen as enthusiastic, sometimes dramatic to get things done. Their influencing capability could be of a different level. At times, they can be under stress or challenging situations. They can be seen as excitable, as in, very excited about starting something new, but equally disappointed after a while. They could be seen as not very structured and starting many things at the same time, and to be a bit touchy when things are, when there's feedback coming their way. And sometimes when really pushed to the corner, could be seen as coming back with a personal attack. That's a stress reaction. A growth for an expressive style comes from consulting others, checking with others. Hey, this is how I'm seeing it. Are you also seeing it this way? What would be your view? That's an area where typically very high on expressive style, people can help themselves and manage their primary orientation better. Right? How do we see them working? Again, they are rapid in their reaction time, come up quite quickly. Their effort is to involve. While a driver might want, while a maximum effort of a driver is to progress and control, the effort of the expressives is to involve everyone. Hey, what is it? You come along kind of thing. They may be more transformational in their thoughts, and routine may be boring. They may want to do new things. Action can sometimes be spontaneous and sometimes impulsive. When they find that the social acceptance is getting a little compromised, very unconsciously, they could be impulsive in their action. Don't prefer to work alone for long. There's a need for joy, for excitement, having a personal approach. Expressive's view of life could be, what is life if it is not for taking others along? It's about making people happy. Those could be some things that an expressive could feel about life and may want to be accepted by others. Is the pace okay? Do you want me to stop? Anyone wants something to be shared? Dr. Naveen, if you can let me know if there's any hands up or something, that will be good. I can't see.
I think there is some black band coming up in your slides. So I suggest you stop sharing once and start sharing again.
Oh, you see a black band? Okay, let me stop share. Okay, let me share screen again. Is this okay?
Still there are some issues, but please go ahead, ma'am. No.
Okay. Are you able to see the birds, or it's the black band is coming right on
Now
top?
there are two black bands. It was one that time, now it is two.
Okay, somebody's raised hand, I think, so it's showing a black band. Can you lower your hand? Yeah, thank you. Has one black band gone away?
The slides are visible. The black band is now at the bottom. So you can continue. If it comes in between the slide, I'll...
Please alert me. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so the next we will look at is the threes, the amiable style. Okay, they are the amiable style look to take interpersonally, they are very savvy, one could say. They like to take others as supportive, they're respectful, they're willing, they're dependable, they're agreeable. but they could be seen as dependent on rules and systems and, maybe unsure and not taking decisions very swiftly. They could be conforming to existing norms and may find themselves awkward when they are beginning something new. Some of the growth actions for the amiable style is around initiating more, and under stress, they could become more and more compliant. So thinking of something new or taking up something new might become a challenge when people are more of the amiable style. How do they work? They're relationship specialists. They're unhurried in reaction. They think we can take time and say things. What's the hurry? Why is there a rush? That's usually their approach. Their maximum effort is to relate. Are you okay? Is everything fine with you? So their one-to-one relationships and interpersonal sensitivity can be quite strong. Minimum concern for, it's not about change, but it's more about maintaining harmonious relationships with people. Their actions are often seen as supportive. Conflict might be a challenge. It's more about let's go with what's there. Why make it an issue? I will adjust rather than bring up a challenge. Could be one of the outlook of the amiables. The need is more for cooperation and personal security, more to be accepted. Right? Now we go to the last, which is the analytical style, the force. And here you'll see that this is about being industrious, persistent, serious, very data-based, fact-based, logic-based, structured, disciplined, that's how they would be seen. And under stress, under difficult, challenging times, they could be seen as critical.
I think there are certain technical issues. They will be rectified. Madam, we are not able to listen to you. I think she will just log in again. And just a reminder that we will be having our second set of leadership summit tomorrow evening at same time with the same link, wherein we have got 4 international speakers talking about different aspects of leadership summit. I request Dr. Balavankat, if you can call her and see settle the issues, please.
She said she's logging in. She logged out and she's logging in.
Right, sir. Right.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Loud and clear.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know. I got thrown out for some reason.
You logged out. Nobody threw you out.
No, not that you did. Technically, I didn't log off. Neither did you throw me out. I didn't mean that. The network just comped, I think. So let me share screen and share this with you. Okay, so we're here and talking about the technical specialist. Usually quieter, don't react very quickly. The maximum effort of these people is to organize, right? To be structured, to make sure that data makes sense. There isn't so much about relating to people and keeping people in good books. That's not the focus. Action is more cautious, you know. Is the data supporting what I want to say? That's very important for an analyst. Tendency to reject involvement. Okay, I mean, not too many people. I mean, that's not required. Let's go with limited opinions and let's go with data. Need for accuracy, being right, achievement could be high with the analytics. Yeah, so I'll stop here for a moment. Maybe just to hear some responses on chat to see, are you able to see some correlation between people who are around you as drivers? Are you able to connect and see that? These are the 4 types, and did you see some resonance in it? Okay. I found, Dr. Jagruti says, I find myself analytical. Yes. And you can see that all 4 are leaders. There is no one style that's more important than another at different phases for different tasks. Okay, I have a request from Dr. Chidananda. Can you repeat? I'll share the slides. Dr. Naveen, can I do that after this? I can send it to you and you can share to the members.
If it's up to you, ma'am.
No, I can share. I can share just after the session so that if people want to go through, they can do that.
We can circulate it on all the groups.
Okay. Yeah. So something to notice for us, for instance, if I'm a driver or if I'm analytical, and if I have team members who are expressives and amiables, what do I need to do? How do I need to approach them? Or the other way around, you know? So this is a certain thought to have, and also as you know, when you're looking at the slides, it's important to see if I'm working with an amiable, what energizes them. Involving everyone, expressive, it energizes them if I involve everyone. You know, if I'm talking to an amiable, then I need to ask them, how was your day, and can we have a tea together? Okay, if I'm talking to a driver, then I go to say, what do you think we are trying to do here, right? Or I need to tell them, this is what I would like you to do, because a driver likes a tell approach, right? So what is helpful for us is, 1 is to know ourselves, and 2 is to guess kind of what is the predominant approach of people who I'm working with. And, you know, is there something I can do that will make our working easier? I think it went to this slide. I wanted to show you this one. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So if a driver is talking to an amiable person, then you would help to tell them why you're doing what you're doing and who will do what. Okay. If an expressive is talking to an analytical person, then it's important that you tell them how. So this gives you a certain idea of how you can take people along and actually exercise your intention more effectively. So I will share these slides so you can go through, and I will also request Dr. Naveen to share the inventory also with you. What is helpful is you can get some opinions from others. You ask others how they see you. And if you've seen yourself as a driver and somebody else sees you as an amiable, it's something interesting to discover that even though internally you come across as a driver, others see you as amiable. Then you have quite a gamut of styles that you're able to adopt, right? So it's helpful to get at least 2 or 3 inputs from those around you, and then look at how your style comes across to others and what feedback does that give you. A last view about the styles, like we have seen quite a few. Just as you're looking at it, it's only a preference. There is no best or worst style. Under different times, you may need different styles to come across. There are no pure styles. We are also a combination of multiple styles. It does not explain the whole person. It's only a preference. Much of the population may be different from you. So your language and your communication may need to change accordingly. All styles have goals to achieve, and all styles want happiness, and all styles want success. Okay, so it's just the pathway that's a little different. Okay, so I think we close to time, but I'll just stop here. Maybe hear some views. Dr. Bala Venkat, what would be good if we have another 5 minutes or so?
Thank you, Uma, for taking us through several facets of possible style of leadership. But is there something that has evolved from this style of leadership where you can call him as an ideal leader? Because in anesthesia, we have multiple agents. But finally, we come to ideal anesthetic agent, which has got the best of everything and the least of negatives. So if somebody wants to lead, what would be is there a solution, or is there an ideal combination to get from these 4 styles?
Maybe it's something I need to ask you folks. I would think under different situations, you may have to adopt different styles. So to me, a leader is one who knows these 4 styles and can adapt, because there are times you have to take charge and there are times you just have to follow. And if you become amiable when you have to take charge, and if you become the driver when you have to follow, it creates a lot of friction to task and the objective we are trying to achieve. So I think adaptability and flexibility, depending on the task, has in general been a leadership style that has supported maximum outcome. I'm guessing that may be true for your profession also. I don't know your roles as much, but I'm guessing that may help.
I think that makes a lot of sense because we have given 4 different styles. We see what predominate in each one of us, and based on the situation, how we move on to a different style and make things happen. I think that's what we take home message from these 4 styles.
Yes, Dr. Bibi. And I think I'll just add to also be sensitive to others' predominant styles is the other objective of learning about styles, and sometimes adapting to that, sometimes evoking the other in them. If they're becoming too driven and they need to be amicable, you could tell them that, so it's also allows us to support the growth of others. Yeah, so I think what would be a good way to close? I'll share these resources, and I really hope they give you a good mirror, and you can get some feedback, and each of you can take on one or two of your least practiced styles and work with them a little more. We having our strengths and also becoming well-rounded, both become critical as leaders.
Dr. Naveen, can we allow one or two people just to give a feedback about the session?
Yeah, all can. I think Madam was talking about how to close. The best way to close is to profusely thank you for sharing all the insights with all of us. And yes, all of you can express yourself. How did you feel about today's around 2 hours of deliberation? You can put it in the chat box also, or that should be fine.
Good evening, sir. Nishant.
Yes, please, Nishant.
Good evening, ma'am. It was actually a very, very. I was actually looking forward to the session for a last 2-3 days ever since I came to know about it, and it has been thoroughly informative for me. So for me, what the take home is that as the 4 styles that you have mentioned, we have to adapt based on the task that is allotted and based on the team that is allotted. Many of the times, we as faculty are leading a team of leaders also. So then what my take home message is, probably I'll have to assess the style of leadership of my colleagues so that I can better interact with them. I think this questionnaire could be helpful if we could do an exercise in our hospital, if you agree, or what are your views on it?
Yeah, you could definitely take it and use these resources to work with your team and see how you can interact better, or there's definitely more that can be done with this. And if you need any support, of course, we are there.
Thank you so much. This was very informative for me.
Yeah, thank you.
Dr. Madhuri, please.
Hi, good evening, madam. This was a very interesting session. And thanks very much for sharing with us everything. Yep. I love those charts and which give you a kind of self-realization. However, I think we need to add 2 more things. One is honesty and second one is hard work. However charming a leader might be, but I think he needs to work the hardest. So that's what impresses us ultimately, and that's what gets us through. So if in those charts, these 2 things can come up as well.
Sure.
And I love the idea that the leader has to adopt different styles, and that's totally a different perspective. Thanks very much. Thanks, Bala, for sending us info and keep reminding us. So all credit goes to Bala. Thank you very much. Thanks, Naveen, for organizing this.
Thank you, madam. Dr. Chidanand Swami.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Naveen. Thank you, madam, for a lively discussion what we had. In fact, as anesthetists, we are leaders in the operating room and also in the intensive care area, because at different situations, we need to lead in different ways and give this especially those boxes what we need to, where we need to pick our characters, what we need. I think we may have a dominant character, but we need to be, depending on the situation, modify ourselves, how to go adapt ourselves, become amiable sometimes, maybe analytical, depending on the situation. It's a very good session. Thank you for the inputs.
Thank you,
and
sir.
for making us realize what we or how we need to, where we need to stress ourselves, so that because you're coming out of the dominant character. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Chetna, please.
Now that I will comment.
You will come slightly later, sir.
It's allowed request.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am, this was really an interesting session. Thank you so much to ISA National and Bala Venkat sir for bringing this topic. I think it is a need of hour, because like we have seen in COVID situations, I think leadership plays a very important role. Even big nations which we looked up to before are now looking up to India because of the leadership of India. And I would like to say one thing. In COVID only, we realized the leadership of ISA through Naveen sir. because it was such a difficult time, and through the leadership of Naveen sir, this difficult time was made so interesting through different activities which sir and ISA National brought up, that we could go through that difficult phase in our life. Talking about leadership, I think all the different styles which you mentioned, ma'am, these are all interlinked. The only thing is that in some person, one will be more predominant as compared to the other styles, but they are definitely all the different characteristics are there in all people. So they are basically interlinked, and it depends, like suppose we make those circle charts. So we'll realize that these many qualities are interlinked. So we will see somebody has, let's say, blue chart, blue circle is more in predominant in one, orange chart is some. If we designate a color to each personality, so that will be like a chart can be made for each person. The other thing which I was just thinking when you brought about this chart, selecting which characteristic you have. So we can have a poll option in this, so that all the members who are participating, they can just participate in the poll, and then we can know that what kind of
is the predominant,
are more predominant in certain in the group which we are discussing. So yes, so we will be able to know whether we have more driver-ridden leaders in the group, or whichever, like we'll come to know through that poll for each query that you posted. I think that will really help.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you,
Thank you so much, ma'am. Great discussion.
Dr. Malhotra, please.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to speak, sir. I would like to thank Uma Madam for such a lovely and beautiful session. And I think the take-home message is what Madam summarized in the end is adaptability is the word. And we show different traits at different points of time during our life, but not just for leadership, but throughout life. I think people who are adaptable to different situations are the ones who progress, and that is how it should be. And another thing is like how even Bala Venkat sir had mentioned earlier, how juniors can also make a difference, and seniors have an important role to convince them or help them identify the fact that however small a designation or position they may be at, they can still make a big difference by their contribution. And lastly, I would also like to thank all the organizers and the National ISA headquarters, people involved in arranging this, Naveen sir, for a non-academic session, which we all enjoyed.
Thank you, Dr. Shikha.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Dr. Rajesh Garg, please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. It was quite interesting session. So I think I could learn a lot from today's discussion. And one of the very key messages that you mentioned, that each leader has its unique role for which he has become the leader. But again, that we need to understand that in different perspective, because leader will be at different places doing multitasking or multiple work to lead the group. The flexibility that you emphasize in your discussion, that flexibility will make him a much better leader and much cheer up leader in the group. So that flexibility has to be adapted. Maybe sometime I think that this characteristic of mine is best for my leadership, but I think we need to learn seeing other leaders also, that what best they have imbibe into us. And sometimes a situational analysis will allow us to bring the whole environment or whole situation in a such a way that you are leading the group. So I think this discussion that you taught us today is very, very informative. Sometimes we feel we are the best, our characteristics are the best, but yes, a lot to learn, and flexibility is the key to leadership. I think this message, if I can imbibe in myself, will be very good for me. Thank you so much. And thank you, Dr. Naveen Malhotra, the leadership of ISA National, and Dr. Bala Venkat for such a wonderful session. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I think it's also helpful to give leadership to others when they have that as a strength.
Absolutely.
One is our flexibility, another is also willingness to share leadership. So yeah, thank you.
I think that's again a part of leadership only, because giving leadership to others is again a leadership. So absolutely a key message. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Before I invite Dr. Venkatagiri, I'll request Dr. Chakra Rao to please unmute and say a few words.
Oh, thank you for
I just joined. I don't know actually what is going on here. Of course, leadership is leadership. Leadership. I have not learned anything by reading books or anything, but the leadership is evolved by doing your own job. You have to identify the lacunae. You have to identify the deficiencies in the system, and you have to work sincerely, targeting the welfare of the members. Then you will automatically become the leader. And of course, there may be a lot of theories, and nowadays the management books and all those things. For all those things, sincerity in working, definitely the people will fall back, and definitely you will be the leader. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rao. And now, as everybody has said, before inviting Dr. Venkatagiri to finally give the concluding remarks, it has been rightly said, rise above yourself, put the association first. And once you rise above yourself, 99% problems are solved. I can say with my own experience. And at the end of the day, anesthesiologists are very good at heart. So they are very good people with a very good heart. So over to you, Dr. Giri, for final concluding remarks.
Thank you. And it was a wonderful session. I have actually attended 2 days full course. It was difficult for me to express this is virtual for 2 hours. And now, if people have attended it, they will feel that what they have lost by not continuing that program which we had conceived long back, 4 or 5 years back, that mentorship, how we trained people and all. Really, it was wonderful. See, ourselves doing is different, and after getting trained and knowing something, doing is different. So now we have known that many of us. So what is the leadership, how it is done and all. See, there are a lot of changes by learning and seeing other mistakes or hearing others. We change our perspective, and the method of working will change, and we will definitely become better leaders by hearing or attending the sessions and changing ourselves. Wherever our failures or lacunae, we will correct and improve, and outcome will be better from our side. So hope we will have more sessions, and I conceived earlier that we should have 1 session for the senior leader, but definitely we will have somebody, or maybe Uma or somebody, that mainly public address, how to address and all this thing I wanted. I told Bala also, we will have one soon for the top leaders, like the top executives of this thing are not common, and make it successful. After that, we can give to others. So members also should think that I was always telling that ISA, we will move from academic sessions to non-academic. So we should have more non-academic sessions also. This is also one among this. Hope you have enjoyed. Those who have not attended will really feel that we have lost something which we should have attended. Thank you. Hope that we will have further. We should profusely thank Uma for sparing her time and taking this, because she has called me, talked with me, and asked that because the preparation also, there was a lot of preparation she had to prepare. It is not that a group of specially anesthesia doctors have a job and all. You know that how it was prepared, and it was not that easy task to talk to doctors. Maybe after some time we will have a really full day class, 1-to-1, instead of this online classes. Sometimes we will have, if people are interested, we can definitely think of that, more this thing, who want to more on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Dr. Venkatagiri, and I now formally request Dr. Bala Venkat to propose vote of thanks and invite the ISCNs for tomorrow's session. Dr. Bala Venkat, please.
Thank you very much, Dr. Naveen. I think one thing which I realized is you create time for everything, and you created time for this, and a very well conducted meeting, and the platform was very helpful. And sincere thanks to ISA National Headquarters for doing this. And thanks Dr. Venkatagiri and the entire Governing Council for being solidly behind this program. My sincere thanks to Mrs. Uma Ravi Kumar, for taking us through a journey where we went through the pathways, made it very interactive, showed finally the style of functioning, and the methodology adopted, I think, was very nice. And once a doctor enters into the medical school, then the entire focus goes on learning the academics, and we miss out on the non-academic component. And I think this transformation into more holistic growth will happen with these initiatives. And thank you so much for preparing and coming out with a clear strategy. We look forward to having more sessions with you, more insights with you, and sincerely appreciate for the time that you have given and for the patience with which you led us. Thank you so much, Uma Madam. And I take this opportunity to invite all of you for tomorrow's session. This forms the foundation. What we heard today forms the foundation. It's kind of a theory class on to know who we are. And tomorrow we would see the practical session where 4 people who have proved themselves to be leaders, holding various capacities. Dr. Faye Evans, the current chairman of the WFSA Educational Committee, then Professor from United States, then Professor YK Chun from Malaysia. She's been in multiple leadership positions. Then we have Dr. Arvind Palaniswamy from United States, again having multiple responsibilities and leadership positions. And Dr. Rajkumar from UK, who is a surgeon. All the 3 initially I mentioned were anesthesiologists, and the last one is a surgeon. And together they're going to contribute and let us know about what they did in their lifetime and what were the challenges and solutions. So we look forward for an interesting session tomorrow. I take this opportunity to thank all the ISANs who have been part of this and who actively participated. Thank you so much. Good night. Jai Hind and Jai ISAN.
Thank you. Good night all.
Thanks.